Hey, what is up everybody, Blades here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be doing the comparison of Bui's 5-star weapon as well as her 4-star weapon. This is going to be Bui Chromatic or Bui Prism. I don't know what everyone's using different names for. I'm just going to call her Cosmic Bui here. So if you guys like videos like this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out quite a lot. Now we're gonna get straight into it. I gotta say, this character is absolutely amazing. I've had a blast playing her, and even though my build is absolute dog water, I've been having a very fun time. Now, of course, I did change some some cards on her a little bit here. For example, one of her cards now look somewhat okay-ish, which is this one, and then the other one looks terrible, but hey, it's damage bonus, because I did find out that the damage bonus is generally just way worth it. I still got to replace this one, and this one gets to stay just because of the 13% crit damage it has, but these two definitely have to get replaced. So this is not like a good build. Including this card here is not like crazy good, so don't be on my neck like, oh, she's not dealing that much. Do realize that my character is not fully built yet. But we're talking about the weapons today. So the 4-star and 5-star weapons for this character, I ended up doing a little bit of playing around with them, and the 5-star weapon itself is just really good in general. But we're trying to see today, which is it really that necessary? Do you really need it that badly? And hopefully I'm able to answer this. So I went ahead and actually got the dupes out of the Wise shop here. I only managed to pull one of them when I was pulling for her weapon. So I got the rest of them out of the shop and just maxed out the 4-star weapon so we can do this today. We're going to explain about what both of them does do. Now, normally I could easily just read it myself and just have it right here, because of course I have it jotted down in my little notepad there, but a lot of you guys want to see the description itself as well for the weapons. So luckily for us, if you look at the screen again, we have lafel.net pulled up. If you guys don't know what lafel.net is, be sure to go ahead and check it out. Find builds for characters, personas, everything you wanted, they most likely got it here. And they're very credible on a lot of things as well. So for the 4-star weapon, which is called Tuber Escapade, this one actually increases your attack percentage by 24%. And after casting a follow-up action, which is something that Yui can do based with her little veggie knights here, she increases her attack whenever she does cast the full out attack by 43%. Now this is only for 2 turns. Now this may sound pretty okay for some people, because as you guys saw inside of the last video, we were able to cast the all-out attack multiple times, meaning we were technically getting our follow-up a lot, allowing us to keep that 43% attack bonus. The only problem I have with this is this doesn't really contribute anything to her whole entire kit, and it only just goes for the attack percentage. We don't really get much bonuses for her kit in general, like any real bonuses for the veggie knights themselves. She doesn't get a huge stat bonus from like crit rate, which crit rate is a huge deal. Another reason why the 5-star is really good. And then she doesn't have another thing that the 5-star does have, which is crit damage. So none of this fully contributes to her kit, and it only boosts just the attack, and you only need so much attack inside of a battle. After you get too much attack, you're over capping a lot of the time, and you're not able to really make a huge difference in your damage markers. So it's kind of iffy to use this type of weapon. Now granted, this is the 4-star weapon, so of course there's going to be a lot of things missing with it, but still it's just not a good weapon to really get a good look at. Now as for the 5-star weapon, just going ahead and taking a look at this one, this is called the Abyss Crossing Vessel. You guys should see it pop back up on the screen here. This increases your crit rate by 18.1% and increases your attack by 10.7% permanently. This is not something that goes away. It's permanently whenever we do summon a veggie knight. Now we're able to summon 4 veggie knights, in which you will be able to get this off if you do have your rotations pretty much correctly, meaning that is a permanent 40.7% attack increase. Now if we're taking a good look at that 4-star weapon, they're getting an attack increase based on the follow-up, and then another attack increase whenever they cast the follow-up there. That's at least around 67% attack increase in general on that one weapon. We have pretty much 20% less of attack, but we're able to then contribute with the crit rate bonuses. Of course, this is based on our veggie knights that we're summoning anyway, so it's really easy to get these stacks up. That's permanently up instead of 2 rounds. And then the third part, which is really good, whenever we do at least cast the veggie knight full out, which is something that the 4-star also wanted you to do just for a measly attack bonus, we're able to increase our crit damage by 32.8%, which is not a small amount. This is already a A0, it's huge, and it is a really good thing. Now, I do suggest a lot of you guys to probably get this 5-star. It contributes a ton to her actual kit. But the question is, how much does it truly at least contribute? What are the damage markers looking like? How do they really affect our stats? So right now, of course, my stats are really bad at the moment, but hey, hang in there with me. We are looking at these stats out of battle, right? We have about 4,400 attack here. We're looking at 29.7% crit rate, 27.1 damage bonus, and 236.2 crit damage. That's what we're gonna go with here. Let's get into a battle, and we're gonna show you guys exactly how this works out for the 5-star weapon. All right, so knowing this boss is fairly easy, of course, it is the only boss I can really show for camera, because I don't really want to do any other bosses, just in case some of my global folks want to watch this video as well. So for this here, we're going to do the exact same buffs. We're going to exactly have everything that we do need for this here. And before we actually start boosting like crazy, we do have to take into account of this character, right? We did one buff, so I'm going to do the same thing next round, but our stats are looking something like this already, where we have, of course, our attack bonuses. We already have one Veggie Knight, so we have some of our attack bonuses. We got our crit damage automatically there being 32.8%, and our stats in battle are looking something like this, where we're at 7.8%, or at least 7.8 attack here. We have around 47.9 crit rates, 281.2 crit damage, and then for our damage bonus being around 50%. And damage bonus, sorry, 84%, and our pin rates being around 50, which really is decent. Now we're gonna do the same thing next round with the 4-star weapons to make sure we do everything equally, so there's no need to worry about it, but set this up the same way, get our buffs in, and when it comes down to our damage marker time, we're then going to show off our stats, and then you guys can see the actual damage that we're able to deal. So I'm gonna do everything exactly the same, no changes here. Dominion doing his buff and everything like that, no one's being changed at all. So we're gonna go ahead and use our skill 2. We get another Veggie Knight right here, and then we use our skill 1. Now off bat, that's dealing about 15k. Now that was without a crit. Of course, my crit rate is very, very low, so if we do get a crit, you guys will understand exactly how that does work here. But it's kind of expected that my crit rate is going to be terrible currently, because I have not done any crit bonuses yet. Now if we go ahead, pop this on off here, use our skill 1, and then use our 2 follow-ups, which is going to happen for our damage round. Then we'll be able to summon all of our Veggie Knights and really see how much damage we really do. Now the bad part about this is the second Veggie Knight, or at least the last Veggie Knight, we technically won't see the full throttle amount of damage it can do, because if I'm right, we kill it in that all-out attack. We don't get the bonus all-out attack out of it. So it is going to, of course, kill, while the 4-star one might not kill. We'll have to see on that damage marker. But after getting her all good and set up, and I need to make sure that she gets a buff here as well. It's the crit damage on up here as well as that damage bonus. And then I found out that we did need to use a different item for her, so then she's able to deal even more all-out attack damage here. So we should see a even better result than what we were seeing here before. So we're going to use this here, get up our all-out attack damage, and let's pop off with the skill 1. And now we can kind of do our last setup to actually do this correctly. So I got my damage in, everything's looking good. So when it comes her turn, we'll be able to start this up. Now we've already done our skill 2, our skill 1, and then now we have our skill 3 about to come in handy. Now good part about this is now we will have 3 whole Veggie Knights. So if we go back and check her set, first of all, in her stats, we're at 12,737. We have a 77.8% crit rate, which is actually quite low, but nothing more we really can do about that right now. 433% crit damage, 85% with the pin rate, and 293% for our damage bonus. Now, if we take a look at all the Veggie Knights, we have all of their stacks right here, or at least 3 of their stacks right here, meaning we're getting 10% for each one of these, being a good 30.7%, which is why our attack ended up getting up so high. Now, I think we have a flat of 10%. So maybe this is it right here with the 47.7 right here, which would make more sense, but that's always great. Then of course we have our 32.8% crit damage whenever we cast the full out attack. So we're about to go ahead and do that as well second, so you guys can see the damage. But overall, you guys see all the buffs that we do have. Everything's exactly the same. Let's just get our last buff with Anj, and then we're gonna pop off the first few hits and see exactly how much damage they can deal. So now that everything's all the way full set up, we use our skill 3, and our damage is looking like this. If this is a crit, then of course, boom, boom, no crits, 140, and then on top, follow up, which did crit, was 330. Now, that's pretty darn decent. That's pretty good right there. 140 right immediately, then 712k right there, which is pretty dang nice. That was immediately a good damage marker, and some of those did not even crit. Now we have all 4 of our actual stacks now, so we have the full stack of our bonuses here that we could very well go ahead and look at, and now we get the 12%, or the 12,000 is now up to 13,000, which is way higher than it was, with our damage bonus getting up even higher to 301. So this is looking even better. And if we go ahead and pop this off once again, you guys will immediately see us deal a lot more damage. Unfortunately, her head covered it. It said 433k, and I think it could have did more ticks, so you guys can see a little bit of the baseline. But that is just this one thing with the 5-star weapon. So now that we have the baseline of the 5-star weapon, let's go ahead and swap it over to our 4-star weapon and see what we deal now. So now the 4-star weapon hasn't been equipped here. We're at least 4,565. I think this is a little bit higher than what we had with our 5-star weapon here, but we're now missing out a little bit on our crit rate, being 11.6%, and our crit damage is still somewhat the same, but that lovely crit rate that we now had is a little bit gone even more so. It's going to make it even harder for us to crit, but we're gonna get straight into the round and do the same setup. All right, so getting into round 2 here, let's go ahead and do our same old buffs. I want to do this first buff first, just to make sure that we're able to copy everything to T, and everyone knows that everything is done equally. So if we take a good look at the character here, we're about 7,912 attack immediately, 29.8% crit rate with 281 crit damage, around 50% was called pin rate here. I almost said freaking damage bonus, pin, and then we have 84.3% damage bonus, which is looking pretty decent. Our buffs are looking something like this here off bat, which is pretty darn nice, and we're gonna get started in here immediately. So in the first hit off, everything's going to be exactly the same. Nothing's getting changed here. Same old buffs. The question is, which does a lot more damage, and is the damage substantial enough to warrant either a person skipping the weapon or pulling the weapon for this character? Well, we got our first Veggie Knight here. Same things going on. We're going to use our skill 2, and then we're going to follow up into our skill 1. And off bat, we're dealing around 55k. Now that was off of a what is called crit. We did crit twice, which was 100k in general, which is quite surprising because we did not get many crits last round. But 55k, which I know for a fact, if we did crit with our 5-star weapon, we should be able to do around 70k easily or more. So it is kind of interesting to see how we got that crit. I'm very much so surprised, but I guess that sometimes is gonna happen. But we're gonna go ahead and do our buff here. Do our lovely buff, and then we need to go ahead and pop this on off, and we'll be able to see everything once we get all of our buffs together. So let's use our skill 2, pop into the skill 3 after we do our ult. All right, so everything is now together. Now if we're looking at this correctly, and then all we need to do is make it to our Bui round, which shouldn't be really too hard. Same little item that's going to be used here. If you, whoa, I almost used the wrong one. Okay, there you go. Same item that's going to be used right there, so you guys can know exactly which one you want to go ahead and go for. Use our skill 1 here, and then for Bui, she's just going to be able to deal some crazy damage. So now we can go ahead and swap over to our Dionysus, pop off Infinite Algorithm, and be ready for our damage round. Now at this point in time, we still have 2 Veggie Knights. If we can get 3 of them, which we will end up getting the 3rd, we will end up having what we need. Now, the whole deal of this 4-star weapon is it's not based on the Veggie Knights themselves. So we're not even getting the whole increase of the 24%. No, we're not even getting the 43% of increased attack until we do our full out attack right now. So currently, if I do our buff real quick, I also need to do the extras as well, so we can make sure we get our extra turns. We're going to be getting a lot more attack. Now, the problem with this is I think we're going to be too capped out on attack, and that's where we're going to kind of have a little bit of a problem, is seeing that we're now lowered on our crit damage a little bit more and lowered on our attack rounds in general. So if we can get some good crits, this is going to look very, very well, but it does have to crit. So if we don't get any crits, it's going to pretty much seem like she's not dealing too much damage here. So we got both of our things on. Our stats are looking something like this right here, being 11 point, or at least 11k. I think we were at 12k when we got to this point here with about 59.7% crit rates. We had 77 at this point, 433 crit damage here, 293 damage bonus, and 85% of pin. So if we go ahead and do this immediately, and we just pop off our skill 3, this is just with 3 Veggie Knights. We deal around 656k, getting to 695, which isn't really bad at all. That's actually pretty darn good. We got a bunch of crits in that as well, which is very surprising. And then of course we do this again, which is 654k. Right now it's looking pretty decent with the 4-star weapon, to a point that we might not even need to go ahead and use the 5-star. But if we go ahead and follow up again with this, we're dealing about 358k on that one tick instead of the 433. So you guys can at least see the differences in between. But due to us using that all-out attack, we did get that nice attack bonus here, which was pretty decent. The only differences here is we managed to actually crit a lot more than normal, which is very weird, seeing that we had the higher crit rate on the other set, or at least the other weapon. But we're not going to make excuses here. If we're comparing both the 5-star and the 4-star weapon, if you do have decent stats, it seems like the 4-star weapon could very well keep up to a decent degree. As for an optimal type run, if you can crit with the 5-star weapon, of course, you are going to deal a lot more with hitting that damage marker. But still hitting around 700k with a bad set effect is pretty darn possible. So what would I say about at least these two weapons is the comparison between the 5-star weapon and the 4-star weapon. I think very well you can use the 4-star weapon, though if you want that really optimal set effect, go for that 5-star weapon, because it can easily hit probably past 100k, even higher than that depending on the battle. But of course it does come down to a little bit of luck at the end of the day with your crit rate. So if you want to play it a little bit safer and use the 4-star weapon, be sure to go ahead and do so. It's actually pretty darn decent as long as you have your stats in order. Though if you don't get your stats in order, this 4-star weapon is just not going to be worth it. Hope you guys found this very informational for this video. If you did, please do slap that like button with your forehead and consider subscribing if you are new. I do daily videos of P5X, and we're only going to continue to do more. But till next time, everybody, thank you for watching, and peace on out.